I would have never guessed that these were the players skyrocketing up rankings going into week 3. Starting off with someone we've already talked about a bunch, so we'll be very brief. Kyren Williams is crushing it, ladies and gentlemen. Kyren Williams, 76 out of 80 potential snaps this week. Cam Akers is getting shipped out of LA. Kyren Williams is now a 3-down running back going forward. This is someone that I had no faith in last season. This is someone that I completely even forgot about going into this year because he's a small running back that wasn't particularly too athletic coming out of school, but he's a great receiving down back. He's been great with this opportunity so far in LA. They haven't shown any willingness to go out there and look at any other running backs, and they are so confident with Kyren Williams going forward that they are just completely moving on from Akers. I mean, you're looking at 4 total touchdowns through the first 2 weeks. You're looking at a running back with 150 total yards. You're looking at a running back that has had 12 targets and 29 carries. He is a top 24 running back every single week going forward. And if I do not have him in our top 24 rankings this week, we should have our running back rankings video coming out tomorrow. Please go down to the comment section, comment as many clown emojis as you can, because anybody who ranks Kyren Williams outside of their top 24 running back rankings in week 3 is a straight up clown. Same thing with Zach Moss here. Zach Moss never thought in a million years this was the guy. But no, he's going out there. He plays literally every single snap in this backfield. Now, we will talk about Anthony Richardson a little later on in this video. I will say, I think Moss and his overall involvement as a pass catcher will probably go back down with a healthy Anthony Richardson, just knowing that Richardson himself can actually go out there and run the ball. Whereas you got to see Zach Moss with not Anthony Richardson, but Gardner Minshew for a considerable amount of this game. So going forward, I do want to just put a little asterisk on this saying, while yes, I'm excited about Zach Moss, I do think that in a full PPR format, maybe he's not a top 12 running back even with this workload, because Richardson will probably take the rushing touchdowns at the goal line and Richardson won't check the ball down a ton, but still a running back that's a locked and loaded starter for the next few weeks. Now, going over to Puka, we're going to be very brief because we've talked about him in every single video for probably the past 2 weeks now. This is a wide receiver that had 20 targets this week. Remember, he played the 49ers. Remember, he was questionable going into this game. You weren't even certain that he was going to be playing on Sunday. So a questionable, banged up round 5 rookie wide receiver going up against the best defense in the NFL drops 20 targets, 15 receptions, 147 receiving yards. And if you're going to look at the amount of targets that he has had so far through the first 2 weeks, he is number 1 in the NFL in targets at 35. Number 2, Justin Jefferson at 25. Number 3, Tyreek Hill at 24. Number 4, Michael Pittman at 23. Puka has 10 more targets than the next best guy in Justin Jefferson. I mean, we had a question asking in the comment section on our last video, do we go through and do we start Puka or Ja'Marr Chase this week? And I laughed out loud a little bit going, oh yeah, it's easily Chase. But then he really got there and sat down and was like, okay, it's still Chase, but I mean, it's a valid question at least. Now, going over to some players that we haven't talked about a ton, you know, TJ Hockenson is one of my guys. Love TJ Hockenson, love the talent profile. This is someone that has improved every single year of his NFL career, now stepping into his prime and an offense that we were expecting to be at the very top of the league with overall passing attempts and most likely completions this next season as well. And yeah, TJ Hockenson going out there and crushing it. On Thursday night, he has 8 targets. You see 2 receiving touchdowns, 7 receptions, 66 receiving yards, and he plays a considerable amount of snaps, and he's an extremely consistent player as well. We saw the elite level ceiling in specific weeks at the end of last season, but now you're looking at TJ Hockenson back-to-back weeks, 9 targets, 8 targets. This is an offense that's going to continue to throw the ball with aggression. This is a tight end that is still in his prime. And while, yes, Jordan Addison will most likely expand his role in said offense, Jordan Addison and TJ Hockenson really aren't running a ton of the same routes, right? I mean, they are operating on separate ends of the spectrum where Addison is the outside wide receiver. He's going to be the vertical threat in this offense, where TJ Hockenson is operating a little closer to the line of scrimmage, where TJ Hockenson is seeing some more targets over the middle of the field. So So I am pretty damn excited about Hockenson with this role being consistent, even with the emergence of Jordan Addison later on in the year, where I expect Addison to be taking more from KJ Osborne than he will be from TJ Hockenson. Now, going over to another player in this game, DeAndre Swift, dominant. DeAndre Swift, the starting running back for the Philadelphia Eagles this next week. He had 28 carries for 175 rushing yards and the rushing touchdown. If you look at the usage, you had DeAndre Swift, Boston Scott, and Rashad Penny all active for this game. DeAndre Swift got every single touch at the goal line. DeAndre Swift saw pretty much every single snap on early downs and third downs. DeAndre Swift played 58 out of a potential 77 snaps, and it's a night and day difference from week 1 with a healthy Kenneth Gainwell from week 2 with no Kenneth Gainwell in this offense. Week 1, Swift, 1 carry for 3 yards. Week 2, 28 carries, 175 rushing yards. It would be different if Kenneth Gainwell was a locked and loaded starter and they were paying him a ton of money. Kenneth Gainwell had had a ton of success in the past. Like, say we would have seen this with Joshua Kelly, right? If Joshua Kelly in week 2 would have gone out there and had 28 carries, 175 rushing yards, fundamentally, it wouldn't have changed too many things down the road. Once Austin Ekeler was back in, Ekeler would have been the starting running back, and you wouldn't have been too concerned about Joshua Kelly. Whereas here in Philadelphia, Kenneth Gainwell comes back in. He's not Austin Ekeler. Gainwell's not taking this job. It's DeAndre Swift's job going forward, and he will be a top 24 running back every week here on out. As we go over to our next player, I have a massive announcement. We are shipping out hundreds of Flock Fantasy hats, hundreds of Flock Fantasy shirts for everybody that's used promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. So if you have not done so already, please go to our Discord, fill out the Google form. I'll actually put the Google form down in the description of this video, and let me know where you want our hat shirt. Let me know the email address you have on flockfantasy.com and Underdog Fantasy. And if you are a member, then hell, I'll be happy to go through and get you some free merch, trying to do everything that I can to get back to y'all. And it's not too late, of course, if you want to go check out Underdog Fantasy. You can find that link in the live chat in the description in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match. You're going to get our updated 2023 fantasy football rest of season rankings and tiers. Plus, you're going to be getting an additional special mystery pick'em for the Thursday night game this week. So please make sure you take advantage. You're going to get all that with promo code FLOCK. But going over to our next guy, we're going to be looking at Anthony Richardson. With Richardson, it's a little frustrating, right? Because this is a quarterback where I want to come out here and I want to say, okay, yeah, he's a top 5 guy locked and loaded every single week. I mean, we know exactly what we have. In reality, we haven't seen Anthony Richardson play an entire game, which maybe is a little bit frustrating. I mean, Anthony Richardson looked like he was on pace to be a top 3 quarterback in fantasy this week, where yes, maybe he's not going out there and dominating with passing volume. He only had 56 passing yards, but fundamentally it does not matter. We know these quarterbacks in 4-point passing touchdown leagues provide value with rushing upside, rushing upside, rushing upside. Anthony Richardson has played about 5-6 quarters of football so far. And if you're going to look at the amount of points he's given you on the ground with this rushing upside, you've gotten 7.5 points from the rushing yards. You've gotten 18 points from the rushing touchdowns. That's 25.5 points from his overall rushing production. And if you're going to be playing in a league where you're getting 1 point per 25 passing yards, that's an additional 637.5 passing yards just from his rushing statistics in a 4-point passing touchdown league. That does put Anthony Richardson as a locked and loaded top 10 quarterback. Not to mention that he actually looks great out there at the same time. Obviously, we're having to deal with the concussion. Hopefully, he can actually start playing full games. But once that happens, I think we'd be super excited about him. Now, our next running back, I kind of want to come out here and take an L with. I mean, y'all know I am the first person to own up, take my L's. And coming into the season, we are going through and we are saying, okay, we need to sell every single running back in a bad offense. I mean, we are going through and we are selling Cam Akers. We are going through, we are selling Rachaad White. And with Rachaad White, this is a running back that is actually pretty damn good. This is a running back that has seen every single snap in the 2-minute drill, every single snap pretty much on third downs, and overall, just the majority of snaps in this offense. He had 51 out of 71 this past week. Now you have an injury to Chase Edmonds, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't want to say they're good, but they're not as bad as we initially thought. Like, yes, I mean, the Cardinals are pretty damn bad. Now, yes, you have the Houston Texans, maybe even worse than we thought, but the Bucs are 2-0. Now, going forward, do I expect this to be a team that continues to win every game? Of course, that's not the expectation. If you look over the next few weeks, they're going to get stomped by the Eagles. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. Then you probably have some competitive games against the Saints, Lions, Falcons. And with White, when he's getting every single touch out of the backfield, when he's getting targeted very often as well, he's going to get there just based off of volume and volume alone. I mean, similar to what we were talking about with James Conner in our rankings every single week, I think Rachaad White is right there in the mix, just as a workhorse running back in a whatever offense. Now, going over to our next player, Keenan Allen dominated this week. Keenan Allen looks like he is going to win fantasy football leagues currently. But honestly, Keenan Allen may be a candidate for us to go through and see what we can get. The reason being is with Allen, yeah, he saw 111 receiving yards this past week. He saw multiple receiving touchdowns. He had 10 targets. But we have to remember the circumstances this was done under. You have Quentin Johnston, similar to Jackson Smith-Njigba, doing nothing right now. You're not expecting these rookie wide receivers to have a massive role weeks 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are going to be guys that continue to expand their roles as the season goes on. Not only do you have no Quentin Johnston making an impact here, but at the same time, you're at a spot where Austin Eckler missed week 2. Now, I still thought we started Joshua Kelly because Kelly's going to see every single touch out of this backfield. But naturally, whenever Eckler's out, you're going to get an expanded target share for both Keenan Allen as well as Mike Williams. So if we're looking at this, Keenan Allen has played in 2 beautiful game environments where week 1, he played in a game where you saw 80 total points getting dropped, where it was just a full-blown shootout. Week 2, you have no Austin Eckler. So if Eckler were to manage to get back in week 3, while Keenan Allen looks great and while he is expanding his role, I would at least be interested to see what we could potentially get through trade. Now, going over to our next guy, Deebo Samuel is, I don't want to say looking like prime Deebo Samuel, but this is very interesting. So one of my worst calls coming into the season, and I will continue to remind you all this over and over again because it was horrendous. I thought Elijah Mitchell was going to have a role. I thought Elijah Mitchell was going to continue to do what he did at the end of last season. I thought we were going to see about 30% of this backfield going to Mitchell. CMC was 70%. Where that's not the case. CMC is playing 100% of the snaps. And instead of getting any involvement as a rusher to Elijah Mitchell, they've just figured, oh, okay, yeah, Deebo Samuel is much better. Deebo Samuel, if he was a running back, would definitely be our RB2 on this team. So you're actually seeing Deebo Samuel, similar to what he had in 2021, getting some involvement as a rusher, where this past week, he sees 5 carries, he has 38 rushing yards, and he gets the rushing touchdown as well. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Deebo Samuel is the same wide receiver he was back in 2021, where he was a top 3 option from a points per game perspective. In reality, I think you're going to see a little bit of that 2021 Deebo mixed in with the 2022 Deebo. Now, Brandon Ayuk is dealing with a shoulder injury. If this is going to be something serious, then at that point, we do need to be moving Deebo considerably up in our rankings, because Deebo may not only have that extra involvement as a rusher, but also a receiver if we're going to see Brandon Ayuk limited in any capacity. Brock Purdy is having this offense chugging along back-to-back games where they have dropped 30 points. Yeah, Deebo Samuel looks very interesting. Now, a running back that was a buy low candidate for us earlier on, Brian Robinson is looking like he's just taken over in every way. Brian Robinson, back-to-back weeks now with every single touch in this backfield. Brian Robinson, week 1, 19 carries against the Arizona Cardinals. Brian Robinson, week 2, goes out there. He has 18 carries and 3 targets out of the backfield against the Denver Broncos. And I understand, yes, they win this game, right? And maybe you're going to see that and go, okay, Mason, it was the game environment. I mean, if they're going to win, then they can go through and they can run the ball consistently with Brian Robinson. Well, that's not really the case here, because Denver was winning this game pretty much the entire way. Washington at one point looked like they were not even going to be in it, yet you still had the continued usage and you still had continued involvement from Brian Robinson. So we got to see what he looks like with his role when they are winning, like they were against the Arizona Cardinals, and when they are losing, like they were against the Denver Broncos. And here in that role, Brian Robinson still remains to have everything. The only thing you're going to see is Antonio Gibson will be the third down back. Antonio Gibson will be involved in the 2-minute drill as well. But pretty much everything on first and second down is going to Brian Robinson. And what is pretty incredible is he is managing to get that receiving volume on first and second down. Now, definitely, you're not as excited about him in a full PPR format than you would be in a non-PPR league. I'm not going to come out here and say that all of a sudden he's some great receiving back, but at least he's giving you something as a pass catcher, which is what we're looking for. And when, running backs across the entire NFL are giving you absolutely nothing, to get a workload like Brian Robinson, it is pretty exciting. But I think that's all I have in this video. Of course, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for checking it out. If you have not done so already, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems, if you want to get some free Flock merch, or if you want to get our updated top 150 rest of season rankings and tiers, go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. They're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get everything we just talked about and a special mystery pick'em for the Thursday night game. I believe that should be Brock Purdy more than less than half a passing yard, but I'll keep you updated on what it is. But I think that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. I really hope you have a great day, and I really hope I get to see you with the live stream later tonight.